Capricorn, this is your tarot reading for the month of September. I normally at this point say coming from the mountains of Java, and while my heart may be there, I strongly suspect that I'll be in Shrewsbury in the UK when this gets released. In fact, I've had to preload quite a lot of content onto my channel because I'm anticipating being in the UK for a couple of months without internet access. Look out for announcements to find out what on earth's going on with me. But yeah, enough about me. This is for you, Capricorn, and I really hope that you get something useful from it. Oh, sorry, I ought to say that's a picture of Shrewsbury. Picture of the quarry and a picture of St Chad's, both of which mean an awful lot to me. St Chad's was where I got confirmed and where I was a server or altar boy, if you like. And while I'm in Shrewsbury, I'll be going there probably every Sunday. But as I say, this is about you. Hope you get something from it. Capricorn, just looking at this spread so far, it doesn't look happy. It doesn't look like a happy September for you. Most signs have had some things that I'm a little concerned about. But I've said there's always hope. There is one ray of hope here, but it's a small chance. No, the rest of it doesn't look good. And the reason is that if you look at that middle card, the Devil card, unhealthy addictions and attachments, and that runs throughout the entire reading. Now, so recently, almost all these attachments have been towards people, but I can't write off that it's not about addictions here. I can't write that off. If you go to the bottom right-hand corner, the Five of Wands, that's a card of conflict, but it tends to be easily resolvable conflicts. Your current energy is the Three of Wands. You're planning something, you're action planning. You've gone beyond the stage of considering your options and you're actually planning things. In the future, we have the Four of Swords, which is you taking a rest. And given how tumultuous September looks for you, I think it's probably a well-earned rest. You need it. The energy impacting on the outcome is the Seven of Wands, and that is you scoring some victories, but also being people spotting you and maybe making people jealous of you. The card which would change the outcome is the Ace of Wands, and that's you acting, you doing something. Now remember I said that the future is the Four of Swords, you taking a rest and saying you needed it. I think this warning is saying that maybe you shouldn't, you need to act. Because the outcome fits in very well with the Four of Swords. It's the Eight of Swords, and that's self-imposed restrictions. So it's the opposite of the action card, if you like. So you're not doing things, and I think you're not doing things because of whatever this addiction or attachment is. Now, we really are going to have to look at all these cards in much greater detail to understand this reading. So I hope you'll join me in the rest of it. What I would say is, if it does seem to be resonating, please like and make a comment and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so that you get future notifications. And from beautiful Shrewsbury, I need to thank you in anticipation for that. You may well be asking, why from Java? What's important about tarot from Java? And the truth is, there is nothing so important about tarot from Java. Simply that here in Java, we have many different spirits who will come to help in your tarot reading. it'll probably put a different reflection on things. For example, the spirits here are less likely to be concerned about love and finances, despite people in Java being every bit as interested in these things as the rest of us. But maybe the spirits are trying to tell us something else. Now I'll be using probably 2 decks, but out of 3 decks. So the first deck is Tarot Nusantara, the second deck is the Steampunk deck, and the third deck is the Light Visions Tarot. Tarot Nusantara is actually a new one to me, which I love, whereas the Light Visions I've struggled with as a result of the rendering. Although I think I'll grow into it, I will keep using it and coming back to it. You can see on all of them I'm using quite a lot of salt, and that's to clear the energy and the spirits from them, something that I do fairly regularly with my tarot. And I also, you'll see a number of Jimat there that I use just to bring a good energy to the tarot and to my reading. Perhaps the most important mystical object we use in Java is the kris, the curly knife that you can see that I've placed across both decks. Kris are very important for bringing the spirits to work on any object here in Java. And I call on the spirits of the Shropshire Hills to assist me in shuffling the cards, in in picking the right cards and interpret them for Capricorn for August 2022. And now this Devil card, as I say, it's the energy that runs through it, and I think this is critical to understanding what's going on. Is it an addiction? It could be an addiction to drugs, it could be an addiction to alcohol, it could be an addiction to internet porn, it could be an addiction to listening to my channel, it could be many things, or it could be an attachment to a person. And so far in September it's always been an attachment to a person, but I need to keep an open mind at this stage. You look at it, well, they're chained to a rock with the devil on it, but they've got collars on, and the collars don't look particularly tight, as though they could remove themselves from this addiction. So, you know, as I've kept saying throughout the September readings, there's always hope, and I think there is. I think this is more in your mind than it is physical, but nevertheless, you know, it is there. And I need to interpret everything I'm seeing through the lens of this addiction, whatever it is. Now, in your recent past, there's been a conflict. Now, I've grown to interpret this card, it's the Five of Wands, as not being that serious. The reason being, you look at it, well, yeah, they are all pulling in different directions. But they probably are trying to achieve the same thing. It hasn't been communicated to them how to do it. So I'm not necessarily saying this conflict hasn't had a major impact on you, and maybe that's where this Devil card comes in. I don't know. But it is a conflict that is fairly easily resolvable as far as I'm concerned. So it needn't be holding you back. But I think it probably is. I think it probably is important, this card. Your current energy is the Three of Wands. I was about to say that's encouraging after the Five of Wands, but you know, you've gone backwards, haven't you, from a 5 to a 3. So has this conflict influenced you? Because you're now action planning. So maybe you've had to sort of reevaluate your plans as a result of this conflict. And, you know, I mean, it's a positive card, the Three of Wands. You've considered your options, and now you're literally planning something out. You look at the card, I mean, it suggests it could be overseas, so it could be something very different that you're planning. And you know, it's good to plan. It's good to work things out and plan. But how much the devil is influencing these plans, I just don't know. And your future energy is the Four of Swords, a card of rest and recuperation, which, given all that's happened to you, you know, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Although, given the other cards, I actually think it is. Because I think that you shouldn't be resting. You should be acting. And of course, you know, your current energy was planning. So why aren't you doing the things from these plans? No, I think it's something of a retrograde energy, this. I mean, you look at him, a knight. I mean, he's lying on his sarcophagus, but it doesn't mean death, although I've heard some people say it. He's got one sword down by him, and he's got another three swords above him. So he's been in some battles, and he's now taking a rest. Well, of course, the battles could have been these Five of Wands, this conflict, couldn't it? Yeah, so, you know, as I say, it's normally associated with a well-earned rest, but I'm just not certain that's what you should be doing. I always say when I see this sarcophagus, and, well, as you've heard, I'm from Shrewsbury, but I grew up in a village called Condover, and the village church was full of sarcophagi like this, and they used to frighten me to death as a child. I don't think that's relevant, but anyway. Of Wands, which is a card of you scoring some victories. They're winning battles, but not wars, if you like. But they put you up on a pedestal and people can see you. And maybe it makes people jealous or envious of you. And now, chronologically, I mean, you know, time doesn't mean anything in the tarot, nor the paranormal. But if chronologically, I would say that this card fits between the Three of Wands, the action planning, and the Four of Swords, the taking a rest. So you're taking a rest, having scored some victories, but maybe having made some enemies in getting to those victories. And you know, it looks as though you later throw the towel in as a result of having made these enemies. Or maybe you think that winning these battles is enough. I'm not sure. You look at it, well, you know, he's going across that stream using his wands, but he looks to be up on a hill and people can see him. So people know what he's doing and are maybe envious. And the card that would change or nullify the outcome is the Ace of Wands, which I see as being an action card, a card where there's an imperative for you to take action. It could be inspiration, creative ideas, something new, but you need to be doing something. Now, given that you were action planning the Three of Wands, I don't know why you're not doing it. I think it's because of this jealousy, these past conflicts, but you know, here's the universe screaming out, no, you need to do something. You need to seek out new things, get some inspiration, get some new ideas, get some new activity going. And you look at the card, well, the wand is being held up by that hand with that cloud that looks divine behind it, as though there is some sort of a real message from the universe in this. And the outcome, I don't think is a good outcome. It's the Eight of Swords, which is self-imposed restrictions. And now, you know, restricting yourself from doing things isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you might think, well, you know, it's a bit dangerous, maybe I shouldn't do this. So being cautious, but that really isn't this. It's a frame of mind you've got, and I think it comes from this addiction, which we still don't know what it is. And you look at the card, well, you know, that she's behind the 8 swords there, so she can't move forward from them. But she's also blindfolded and tied up. Is it dangerous? Well, it is, because she's on a seashore, and I don't know if the tide's coming in or going out, but neither does she. And if only she was to remove the blindfold, there looks to be a lovely village with a Hindu temple up on that cliff. Now, you know, might be a struggle to walk up that cliff, but it's a hell of a lot better place to be than on the seashore, potentially with the tide coming in. And we really do need a clarity on this Devil card. And the first card we get is the 9 of Cups, which is a lovely, joyous card. I'd say there's 2 things about it. One is there's cups. So are you addicted, you know, wine goblets, are you addicted to alcohol? But secondly, you're by yourself. Because the next card is the 2 of Cups, which suggests that you do actually find somebody. And it's quite a wonderful love. And the final card is the... I'm going to have to... I know what it means, but I'm going to have to check exactly. Yeah, the 6 of Pentacles, which is the card of charity. And now, I mean, it might be actual charity, and we don't know if it's towards you or you being charitable. But so far this month, it's always meant you being more charitable in your attitudes towards others. So let's unpack these and see what they really mean. You look at it, 9 cups of wine on the bar there. The barmaid, I mean, it looks like La Belle Epoque, doesn't it? And the barmaid's welcoming. You know, it's a joyous, joyous card. The 2 things I'd say about it. One is there's 9 cups of wine. Are you becoming an alcoholic? And secondly, it tends to suggest that you're by yourself. But I don't want to throw too much cold water on it because of, you know, it reminds me of a stage in my life. I'd had a failed marriage to who I still believe was a sweet girl, Nancy from America. But, you know, it had ended. I'd had a relationship with somebody that was never to be perfectly frank. And I was on my own in Manchester during the Madchester era and was having a wonderful time. But the thing that was missing from my life was love. And I did meet somebody while I was out, and they turned out to be a covert narcissist and a psychopath. And frankly, well, I was with them for 20 years and they very nearly destroyed me. And I think it's a similar thing, you know. Maybe there is an addiction here. Maybe there is an addiction to alcohol or drugs or something like that. But I'm not sure there is. I think you want love and you haven't got love and you'll do anything for love. I think that's what it is. And having said that your addiction is to love and being loved, I think you find it. And at least at first it feels wonderful. At least at first it feels fantastic. It feels like your soulmate. You look at the card, well, they've got those cups there, but coming out of them is that yin and yang, that they're the perfect match. And I think maybe you are. I think maybe you are. But I also think that, you know, you're so used to having been alone that you don't really know how to deal with this. That's my feeling. You don't really know how to deal with it. Yeah. Now the final card is the... Oh, I looked it up, isn't it? It's of Pentacles. Is it a 7 or is it an 8? I know what it means, but... Six of Pentacles. How about getting that completely wrong? 6 of Pentacles, which is the card of charity. And, I mean, it could be about you receiving gifts of money. It could be about you giving gifts of money. But I think, like everyone else this month, it's about you being more charitable towards, and I think it's towards this person that you've met. You being, you know, if you're used to being by yourself, maybe this person comes into your life and they, you know, when I told you my story. I mean, I was a university lecturer at the time. I was doing all right, you know. And maybe this person that comes into your life doesn't have the sort of job and money that you have, and you're a bit wary of them. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. And you know, you've got something of an addiction towards them, but you can't work out what sort of relationship it really ought to be. I think we can summarise now. Capricorn, I think this reading in September is loosely about love, but it's more about you feeling that you've been hurt in your relationships in the past. There's certainly been conflict in the past, and there's an addiction here, or an attachment. I think it's an attachment to just being loved, or loving and being loved. There could be an addiction. There could be an addiction to something like alcohol or drugs. There could be. But I'm getting the feeling that maybe there's not. And, you know, you've responded to this past conflict by planning things out, planning your life. And, you know, I think you're doing quite well in your life, really. You're scoring some victories. It feels a bit empty because you're by yourself, you know. I mean, you're having a good time, don't get me wrong. And unknown to you, it sort of makes some people jealous. And those people could be a new love that comes into your life. They could be jealous of your success. I'm not sure. Could well be. And, you know, this new love does come into your life, but you're putting up barriers because you've been hurt in the past. I think you've particularly been taken for money by past loves, and you're putting up those sorts of barriers because of it. But in doing so, you're sort of preventing this love from really flourishing. And I think it is a good love. I think it is a divine love, and I think you need to be more charitable towards them. Probably both in terms of money and your attitude towards them. But, you know, I don't think you do it. I think you put up more and more barriers. And, you know, you play this very calmly and coolly. You take a rest. But to find what you really want, you need to change. You need to take on new ideas. You need some inspiration. Because, you see, this is an addiction. You go from relationship to relationship, putting up these barriers because of bitter experience. But, you know, love is love, and if you've got love, you'd do anything for love. Yeah, you're restricting yourself. You're not going to find the love you want by keeping doing it the way that you always have. Now, I'm not blaming you, and it rather depends on your age, doesn't it? Because if you're young, you know, just enjoy these relationships and you'll learn. But if you're older and getting a little desperate for love, and, you know, it does feel like you are, then maybe you need to treat each person that you meet afresh. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And yeah, you might get taken for some money again, but hey, that's life. Relax. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed Tarot from Java as an addition to my channel, The Magic of Java. Please take a look at the other videos that I have on this channel about magic from Java, and I hope that you will become a subscriber. Now, if you want to hear your next tarot reading, hit the button, and that will inform you of when I publish new readings. I'm certainly going to do a reading for every month, but maybe I will try them a bit more frequently, say a mid-month reading, and maybe also some special readings. But above all, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you, and enjoy Java.